Welcome to Ruhoni Sewing. My name is Ruth, and today we are going to have a tutorial on how to draft back bodice pattern. Without further delay, please let us start. Materials needed in this tutorial: we have our straight ruler, we have the pencil, square ruler, here we have our curved ruler, rubber, and our tape measure. We have also our pattern paper. Listed on the screen are the measurements needed. We have the shoulder length measurement, bust measurement, back width measurement, waist, hip, neck to waist measurement. We will also use standard measurement for the neckline and for the distance between breasts, that is apex to apex measurement. Please do not forget to leave a distance of 0.5 inches at the top as well as at the sides of your pattern paper. Now let us start to draft our pattern. From the intersection, measure 3 inches of width and 1 inches depth. Make sure all sides are equal. This is a standard measurement for the back neckline. Now, using your ruler, connect all the points. And label these points as A, B, C, and D. Now, with the aid of your curved ruler, draw the neckline as shown here. From point B, connect with a smooth curve to point C. If you do not have a curved ruler, you can draw freely using your hand. Then take your tape measure, measure from point A 7.5, that is half of your shoulder length measurement. Mine is 7.5, and label that point as E. Now, with the aid of your square ruler, square down from E. Then, with your tape measure, measure 1 inch down from E and label that point as F. Then with your ruler, connect point F to point B. Now from C, measure 1/6 of your bust measurement. Mine is 6.5. Then add 2 inches. Label that point as G. With the aid of your square ruler, square across from G. And label that line as the bust line. Measure half of a distance from C to G. Mine was 8.5, so half of it is 4.25. Label that point as H. Then with a square ruler, square across from H. And label that point as, that line as a chest line. From C, measure the distance of neck to waist. Mine is 15. Label this point as K, and as with the chest line and the bust line, Using your square ruler, square across from K. And label that line as your waistline. Now, from your waistline, measure 8 inches downwards. This is a standard measurement of a distance from the waist to the hip line. Now, again, square across and label that line as your hip line. Label that point as L. Now let us start with our horizontal measurements. On the chest line, measure half of the back width measurement. Mine is 7.5 inches, but back is smaller than the front, so reduce it by 0.25 of 1 inch. So now we have 7.25 inches. Label that point as M, then square down from M to the bust line. And label the point on the bust line as N. Again, on your bust line, measure quarter of your bust measurement. Mine is 9.75 inches. Reduce that one by 0.25 as it is the back bodice pattern, and add 0.5 of an inch as your seam allowance. And so now we are at 10 inches, and label that point as O. Connect point F, M and O, but first start with F and M. With a slightly curved line, connect these 2 points. Then move to point M and O. Connect them as shown here. And here is your back arm side. On the waistline, measure quarter of the waist measurement. Mine is 8.5, but remember it's a back bodice. We are going to reduce it by 0.25 of an inch. And again, because it's the waistline, we are going to add 1 inch of the dart and 0.25 of a seam allowance. Label that point as point P. On the hip line, measure quarter of the hip measurement. Mine is 11 inches, but plus 0.25 of the seam allowance. Label that point as Q. Now connect O, P and Q. First start with O and P, and then P and Q as shown here. To avoid sharp corners on the waist, use curved ruler and redraw a curved ruler at the waistline. Now let us draw the dart. On the bust line, measure half of the apex to apex measurement, which is 4 inches. This is a standard measurement for the distance between the breasts. Label this point as R. Then with your square ruler, square down from R to the waistline. You can draw a straight line, but here I've used a dotted line. Then label the point on the waistline as S. From R, measure 1 inch downwards. Label that point as T. Then if you remember, on the waist we left 1 inch allowance for the dart. Measure 0.5 inches on either side of this line as shown here. Now connect T to the points on the waistline. Now with your square ruler, extend the line from the waist up to the hip line as shown. Then from your waistline or point S, measure 5 inches downwards. Label that point as W, and then with your ruler connect point W to the points at the waistline. And here is your dart. Now label the center back. Show the direction of the grain line. And since this is our back bodice pattern, label it as back. Here is your pattern from the neck, the bust, the waist, up to the hip line. With your scissors now start to cut your pattern.